Welcome, listeners. You are listening to a podcast from the Free People's Movement out of Sweden. Episode 1. What is the deep state? You've probably heard the expression, the deep state, before, but even if you haven't, it doesn't really matter. We will in this episode try to explain what hides behind the expression. The global criminal organization known as the deep state is infiltrated throughout most of the world governments. It is not a transparent organization, meaning that the members of the organization, for the most part, does not completely understand the whole organizational structure, as they are driven by their own greed and cannot grasp what they are a part of. Only at the very top of the pyramid, those who are in control of the money and power, operating behind the scenes, have the complete picture. The entity who sits on top of the pyramid, that control the deep state, is what Donald Trump referred to as the hidden enemy. The hidden enemy is acting through the deep state actors in the captured governments, hiding behind corrupt government officials and various political parties. There is only the illusion of democracy, and the hidden enemy are the puppet masters hiding in plain sight. The deep state is, however, an all-inclusive term. A network of corrupt actors in the federal government, high-level finance, and high-level industry, operating as a hidden government that exercises power alongside, within or above the elected government. Basically, the deep state consists of individuals that put their own interest before the good of the public. People motivated by their own self-interests are more easily controlled and manipulated into carrying out a specific agenda, put forth by people higher up in the hierarchy. To make it a bit easier to understand, we can divide society into 3 tiers. Top tier. Intelligent gangsters. Intelligent, rich, and powerful people that are morally deficient, without any scruples, aka sociopaths. Corrupt bankers and titans of industry. Middle tier. Educated criminals. Well-educated, articulate and prominent people, also morally deficient, serving their own self-interests first. Corrupt politicians, media, professors, lawyers, doctors, and so-called philanthropists. Bottom tier. Useful idiots. Every other layer of society that believes in the fairytales and self-serving lies coming from the upper tiers, and blindly following their agenda without questioning anything. The 2 upper tiers would be included in the term deep state, but it's not really that black or white. Most people do not realize that this structure exists, or that they themselves are a part of it. This sort of abstract thinking, of how society really is constructed, has been purposefully withheld from our formatting. The entity known as the deep state is, however, very old, and is not by any means static in structure. The deep state players have always sought to control information, money, and government. Control of money can easily buy control of information. Control of money and information buys control of government. Control of the government buys control of the people. Who creates and controls our money? Most people think money is created by government. This is incorrect. There is a whole hidden side to our history regarding the control of the creation of money, which we cannot go into in detail because of the complexity and length. But to simplify this, money is created by private banks when a loan is created, with interest attached. Sir Josiah Stamp, director and president of the Bank of England, said during the 1920s the following: "The modern banking system manufactures money out of nothing. The process is perhaps the most astounding piece of sleight of hand that was ever invented. Banking was conceived in iniquity and born in sin. Bankers own the earth. Take it away from them, but leave them the power to create money and control credit, and with the flick of a pen, they will create enough money to buy it back again. If you want to continue the slaves of bankers and pay the cost of your own slavery, let them continue to create money and to control credit. Seeing as even the bankers themselves know this, why don't we? We all need to have a basic understanding of the following, as it is the basis of the whole rigged system. All money is made from debt. Every last cent of our monetary system is created through debt. The central banks, which are privately owned, create money from thin air, then lends it to government. The private banks also create money from thin air and lend it out to the public. Both the central and private banks charge the borrower for the creation of money. The cost for creating money is called interest. To simplify this, if the interest is 10%, for every $100 created, $110 has to be paid back to the bank. This creates a problem. A big problem. If all money is created from debt, that means that in order to pay the interest, more money needs to be created. Another indebtment has to be made, also with interest attached. And in order to pay the interest on that debt, more money needs to be created, also with attached interest. And so on, and so on. Do you see the problem? This means there is an ever-growing cost for the interest. After a couple of decades, the amount of money owed in interest will consume the whole economy. Then the economic system fails. You can research this topic for yourselves, but it is important to understand the following. Those who create money control the world. Governments cannot function without money. So tell me, who has the real power? What if I told you that the hidden enemy is really, at its core, the same entities who create our money? Apart from money, what more do they control? What if I also told you that this global criminal organization control big tech, pharma, finance, food, and so on? The hidden enemy also control the World Health Organization, which at this point should be blatantly obvious. The economic system is on the verge of collapse because of the cost of the compounded interest, and the hidden enemy knows and has planned for it. This is the real reason for the pandemic. It was meant to take the blame for the economic collapse, to usher in the Great Reset. This will, however, not happen. I know most of you think that the Rothschild family sits at the very top of the pyramid. But they are not exactly hiding in plain sight though, are they? No doubt that the Rothschild banking dynasty was once very powerful. However, they do not control our telecommunications infrastructure, nor do they control the power grid, nor are they in charge of our financial system. I will not bore you with a history lesson, but have you ever wondered what JFK was talking about in his speech about a global conspiracy? He was talking about this exact topic. They are responsible for every single war in the last century, at least. Some questions that need answers. Who does George Soros really answer to? The three-letter agencies have been corrupted and controlled by this global criminal organization. How is that possible? Well, who controls the wire? In the next episode, these questions will have their answers. Thank you for listening.